So we'll chant Dakshinamurti mantra. First I will chant and then you repeat after me. Om Vishwam Darpana Drishyamana Nagari Tulyan Nijantargatam Pashyannatmani Mayaya Bahirivodbhutam Yatha Nidraya Yes sakshat kurute prabodha samaye svatmanameva dvayam Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Bijasyantarivangkuro jagadidam prangnirvikalpam punaha Maya kalpita deshakal kalana vaichitra chitrikrutam Mayaviva vijrumbhayatyapi mahayogi vayasvechaya Tasmai Shri Guru Murtaye Namahidam Shri Dakshinamurtaye Next page. Om Bhadram Karne Vishrunuyama Devaha Bhadram Pashye Makshabhiryajatraha Sthirairangaihi Stuštuvagam Sastanubihi Vyashema Devahitam Yadayuhu Swasti Nahindro Vruddhashravaha Swasti Nah Pusha Vishwavedaha Swasti Nastarksho Arishtanemihi Swasti no Brihaspati'r dadhatu Om Shanti 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 Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai Om Shanti 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 Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Bande Guru Paramparam Om So we were discussing Ayam Atma Brahma. Ayam Atma means this self. I will tell you that meaning. This which is immediate, that is I. Why it is immediate, I will tell you. So this I which is immediate, which is self-evident, and that is Brahman. That is the cause of the creation. That is whole. That has never become dual. It all the time obtains as the whole. You are whole. That's called, meaning of non-duality is a whole. One without second, which never obtains as second, which never becomes dual, is whole. Purnamada Purnamidam. I'm not completing the class, okay? But this is so. That's how we had done that inquiry in 2 classes. That begins I and everything, and ultimately we found, well, I am not an individual, I am not physical body, it's an object of knowledge. I am not senses, object of knowledge. I am not emotions, object of knowledge. I am not memory, object of knowledge. I objectify. Just because you are conscious being, default. Just because you are conscious being, you objectify. Therefore, what is never objectified, what is never available for objectification is you, consciousness. That's another definition. Never available. Because for you, everything is automatically, by default, objectified. Anything, your single thought, objectified. Memory, objectified. Emotion, objectified. Perception, objectified. Your fancies, objectified. Your imaginations, objectified. Your whole mind, objectified. Your senses, objectified. Your body, objectified. Your hunger, objectified. Your thirst, objectified. Your circulation of blood, objectified. Your constipation, objectified. Please believe, I'm telling you, your respiration, objectified. What is objectified is not you. No, I am that. Compartments. Ego. You take yourself a limited being. And being limited, it has all its issues. You say, they are all my issues. I have an issue with my circulation. I have an issue with my respiration. I have an issue with my digestion. Things have their own dharma, that's a different thing. But you, the subject, what is objectified by you can never be you. Then only you are able to objectify. Please understand, any knowledge takes place only in the condition when the knower and known are different. Otherwise, no knowledge takes place. When any knowledge takes place, definitely you, the knower, is at one end and the known is at the other end. Other end means they are different. Therefore, you are the one who is free from everything. Then what's your dimension? What's your dimension? Any dimension you say, any object you have taken it as subject. When you say any dimension of yourself, anything you add into consciousness, the thing which is available for objectification, it's object of knowledge you are adding into you. Unless you add anything into you, you will not have any samsara. When you don't add anything into you, you enjoy 8 hours. You don't need any object of happiness. You only are there. Should be a very boring state. Yeah. Swamiji, world is full of objects which is happiness. Nice, good. Then the deep state must be the most boring state. But that's a state everyone wants. You love. Love always follows joy. Very beautifully said by Vidyaranya in a 2nd chapter in Panchadashi. Love follows joy, happiness. Where there is love, happiness, there is a love. Yeah. In fact, they are all dynamic forms of your fullness, joy. All. Love, compassion, all are dynamic forms of what you are. Whenever you are full, you love yourself and you love others. What is here manifests out. When you reject yourself, you reject others. When you are angry with yourself, you show your anger towards others. What I mean is, if you love yourself, you love others. Compassion is a that's how all these are the characteristic of a wise person. Maitraha, Karunaha, etc., etc. So love, compassion and everything, our good emotions, they are all dynamic forms of your fullness, which you are aware of now. Consciousness, which is free from any dimension, that is you. And well, that consciousness exists. Everything comes and goes. Seer comes and goes. Hearer comes and goes. Doer comes and goes. Runner comes and goes. Eater comes and goes. Waking state over. Dreamer. Dream eater comes and goes. Dream seer comes and goes. Comes and goes. Goes means where? Deep sleep. Waker, dreamer, resolves. They all come. They are all incidental attributes. What are incidental attributes? Don't take it as yourself. Yeah. Pot is an incidental attribute to the clay. If clay thinks that I am like pot or of this dimension of the pot, clay will feel, clay being all pervading, still feel limitation because of error. What is incidental takes as intrinsic. Right? If clay says, well, pot is an incidental property of me, fine. That's what it is. That's the knowledge. But I am pot. I am pot. I is equal to pot. Means it's my intrinsic attribute. Definitely there is the issue. Yeah. Samsara is born of that. This is a wanting being. Yeah. Clay has become a wanting being as though with taking pot as oneself. So limited. Now seeing a bigger pot, there is an issue. Seeing something else, jar or something else, or a lead. I want to become that. So look at that now. I want to become that. I want to become that. I want to become that. Hey, you are already that. You are already that. That's called Sarvatma Bhava. I am in form of everything. They are all incidental attributes of me. Anyway, and therefore, consciousness ever is. Everything comes and goes. Consciousness exists in everything that is added to it, already existing. What is incidental in that, it is already existing. That's how it is incidental. So consciousness exists in everything that is added to it. Consciousness exists when it is removed. Yeah. Water already exists when wave is added. Or wave is removed. Water is there. No change on the part of the water with an incidental attribute, without an incidental attribute. Water remains water. This is called asangatma. So you are with everything. Without you, there is nothing. You are with everything. At the same time, you are independent of everything. That's the freedom. That is the freedom. That you are with everything, and yet you are free from everything. That's called absolute freedom. Yeah. Otherwise, people generally have issues. I am away, let me be away, then I feel freedom. Let me be away from everything. That's not real freedom. It's a conditional freedom. You create a condition, create a certain condition to enjoy the freedom. That's not real freedom. Because your freedom is dependent upon the condition. Where there is a dependency, there is not absolute freedom. Absolute freedom is unconditional freedom. And this unconditional freedom is being consciousness. Well, I am free. I am with everything. I am invariable in everything. Whatever is there, name and form, is my incidental attribute. They cannot exist without me. But I am free from everything. I transcend everything. I am free from everything. So whatever is there, this world which is variable, I am with that variable, I am all the time there. But I am still non-dual. That's how non-dual experience is running away from the duality. Non-dual knowledge of a non-duality faces the duality and proves that there is no duality. That's the difference. In the knowledge of a non-duality, you face duality, analyze it, and understand that all that is there is a non-dual self. then that experience of a duality continues. In a non-dual experience, you literally withdraw from the duality. Either a samadhi, you are running away from the world. Either in a deep sleep state, you are definitely keeping away the duality, right? Outside. So, this is in one, you basically want to be away or remains away from the duality. In other, you face. It's a big thing. Therefore, it proves that in order to prove non-duality, this duality has to go. That's not non-duality. If duality goes, all that is goes and then nothing remains. Means that non-dual thing is a shunyam. That's what Buddha say. Or I should have a experience of a non-duality. Nirvikalpaka samadhi. Why? Because this is too much. All this is a nuisance. Let me be away. Let me be away. You can have, but you will come back. Once you come back, you feel again it is too much. That was good. That was good. That's how people sometimes wake up after sleep and they put a hand like this. Oh, a day has begun now. Facing the duality, facing the world, subject-object both, knower, known, proves that knower and known basically are stemming from one thing, that is consciousness. All are superimposed. Knower and known both is superimposed upon that. Both are added to it. I remain consciousness. Remove, I am consciousness. So this is how it is. Anyway, consciousness ever exists. I am consciousness that exists. Everything shines after me. I shine because I shine. I shine because I shine. Everything shines because by means of knowledge. Everything shines basically because everything becomes evident. Everything becomes evident to the eye through means of knowledge. The world of names and forms and colors and sounds and everything become evident to you, to the eye, through means of knowledge. Even so-called things which are not within your range of perception, they are evident to you still through inference. What's happening right now in New York City? Perhaps I through certain data of perception, like a weather data, let's say. I don't want to talk about snow because people will feel, generally we don't like that. But my point is, suppose I have a certain weather data. Then I can infer that, yeah, there is a snowfall right now in New York. Something like that. But that also becomes evident to me through another means of knowledge called inference. So basically everything becomes evident to eye. The world is evident to eye directly, indirectly through a means of knowledge, perception or inference. Even your mind also is evident to you because you are witness to that, your consciousness which illumines the mind. Therefore, everything is evident to I. Then I am evident to whom? What is the proof? What is the evidence you use to prove the existence of I? Somebody said, Swamiji, because I infer, I think, therefore I am. You know that. I think, therefore I am. So if you don't think, you are not there. When the thought is not there, you are not there, means in deep sleep state, when there is no thought, you are not there. Even in a waking state, you say, well, I did not have a thought for a moment. My mind has stopped thinking. You are not there, very much there. Another person use another inference. Just because I am married, therefore I am. Kya baat hai? Before marriage, you are not existing. After marriage, we don't know about your existence. But at least before marriage, before marriage you existed. Therefore, I am married, therefore I exist. Because no one marries to a non-existent being. Hey, what is this logic? What is this logic? So everything is evident to I. If everything is evident to I, that I should be there or not? Should be there. I exist. Then who knows that I exist? Hey, you know you exist. What are the means of knowledge you used? No means of knowledge. Self-evident. That's how it is called self-evident. Because it doesn't require evidence, or it doesn't require any, evidence means of knowledge, proof. It doesn't require any means of knowledge, perception, inference, any thought, nothing. You are not to imagine yourself, you are not to perceive yourself. Self is not available for perception. If it is available for perception, it should have certain attributes, it should have some color, it should have some form, it should have some kind of a sound. People hear sound, different sounds. They say it is a sound of Brahman. Not available for any objectification. Because of which you are able to objectify everything by any means of knowledge. Your existence is not dependent upon any proof. You know you exist. The knowledge about you, general knowledge I am talking, is without using any means of knowledge. That is called Ayam. Ayam Atma. This, the immediate one, this self-evident, which is self-existing. Yeah? World doesn't exist. I told you yesterday already. World exists because it is evident to I through means of knowledge, and therefore you say a given thing is. But I is self-existing. If your existence is not dependent upon anything else other than yourself, means the existence is your own nature. And if existence is your nature, where is the question of death? Death means what? Non-existence. That's how Bhagavan said. One who knows this, amrutatvam hi vindate. Kano Upanishad, and here also, Bhagavan also said that. So immortality is something which is not to be really gained. It is to be understood. It's a core of the person. It's a core of your personality. Whatever you say. If you say, want to say Atma is a person, well then, core of your personality. Physical, emotional, all personality behind that, there is a person. That person is basically a free self, free from the effect of time. What exists in time comes and goes. If you are self-existing, existence is your nature, means time doesn't affect you. You are not time-bound. Understand this, and well, this is how one has to know oneself, gaining clarity. Repeated Shravanam, etc., we'll talk at the end. Anyway, so this is what the self is. So now you can understand everything is woven in the self, in Brahman. Everything means entire Jagat, known, unknown, is woven in Atma, in yourself, in Brahman. Like, and they give an example, like the cloth is woven in the threads. Cloth is nothing but a name and form, which is non-separate from these threads. So the yarn or the threads basically themselves are in the form of a cloth. Similarly, the entire Jagat, all names and forms are woven in this Brahman, totally non-separate from Brahman. That's how in Akshara Brahmanam, in a Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, Gargi asked this question to Yajnavalkya, that what is that thing in which the entire Jagat, including the past, present and future, is woven? And earlier, first he said in Akasha. Akasha means in unmanifest. All this manifest was woven in unmanifest earlier, before manifestation. And what is, when it, this unmanifest also, unmanifest names and forms are woven into what? Then Yajnavalkya gives a definition of Atma, a longest definition of Atma. Etadvai tadaksharam gargi brahmanaha vivadanti asthulam ananuhu arasvam adirgam achayam alohitam anaksharam, etc., etc. All longest definition of 4 lines. That's called Akshara Brahmana. The whole world is woven in you, Atma, Brahman. And woven means they use the word otam protam. So kasminnu khalu bhagavan otancha protancha. The whole mantra I'm not speaking, but it is what it is. And then definitely Yajnavalkya answers that in that akshara, in this Brahman, everything is woven. And you know this otam protam is nothing but this long thread is called otam, and the cross thread is basically called protam. We call warp and woof. And first one sets up generally in the weaver, sets up a long threads and then weaves the cross threads into the long ones by operating the loom, and you get a cloth. So when we call it fabric or a cloth, but all that is there is just one thread in form of both. So that arrangement is a human effort we call creation. Creation of a fabric is nothing but this otam protam of a thread. All that is there is thread. Right now also all that is there is thread. You started with thread, or now also it is what? Thread. Then where is creation? Where is creation of fabric? Right? Could you follow? What you call as a fabric is really just a name. What is there is what? Thread. And so if one analyzes it, finds that there is no creation. It's as though creation. Just thread appears in one form, for which we have a name called fabric, F-A-B-R-I-C. That's it. So you get, creation means you got an extra name. That's it. Nothing else. Nothing else. You got a name. You got a new name called pot. What is still there is what? Clay. You begin with what? Clay. Right now also, what? Clay. So what is created? Just name. One more name. Earlier you were not saying pot. Now you say pot. Okay, then where is pot? What is substance there? No, just name. Vacharambanam vikaro namadeyam. Look at that. Chandogya. It's a pratigna opening statement. If you want to enter into Vedanta, understand this statement. This is a gateway. Yeah. All that is there is a creation of names. That's where Omkara is entering. Anyway, and so in an embroidered cloth, actually, whatever appears as a sun, mountain, etc., trees, animals, people, etc., all is nothing but names and forms. The cloth is a truth, and in fact, this is called a Chitrapata Nyaya. Even this kind of an example is given by Vidyaranya Swami also in Panchadashi. I think in 6th chapter, if I am not wrong, it is given. And then he gives an example of a canvas, and there is a painting. All that is there on the painter, Rama, Lakshmana, etc. The eyes of Rama is also canvas, and the hair of Rama also is a canvas. The sari of Sitaji also is a canvas. It's all canvas, nothing else. Just a form, a particular form of the canvas, you call Rama, etc. Could you follow? So that's how it is. So really speaking, here all sun, moon, etc. on that cloth is nothing but is cloth alone, and ultimately we should say it is thread alone. And therefore, if one pulls the thread appearing as the sun from the embroidery, sun is gone. Sun is gone. You get only a ball of thread. One ball of thread, sun. Another ball of thread, mountain. Another ball of thread. Could you follow? So this is what it is. Otam protam. Everything is woven in you. Nothing can exist apart from you. Apart from you, existence of anything, if you can prove it, please let me know. Then I also leave this study, okay? Yeah. Apart from consciousness, try to prove existence. Nothing is without consciousness. Nothing is beyond consciousness. Nothing is besides consciousness. Wave is not besides water. Wave is not without water. Wave is not beyond water. All that is there in the wave is water. Otam protam. Could you follow? This is called wholeness. I am whole. Purnamadah Purnamidam. Still I have not completed, okay? I have to start Omkara now. Anyway, so it says now in the form of bunch of threads, and well, everything what is there. So with respect to this Jagat also, we can say everything is consciousness. Sun, when you say sun, or sun is, sun consciousness is, etc., etc. Sun is also a name and form of this consciousness only. So heaven and the space and earth and all are woven into this consciousness. The mind along with the senses that are necessary to experience also, the vast Jagat, are also woven into the same Brahman, same Atma. And that's in experiences, right? And one's expression in the Jagat also through one's organs of action, etc., such as hands, legs, etc., well, and the power behind the expressions also, that is prana, also woven into that. So your experiences and your expressions, both are woven into your experiences as a knower and your expression as a doer. All, totally. Physical body, of course, is taken. But when you say doer, then organs of action are involved. Prana is involved because you need a power to do. So that is also woven into same Atma. And when you are experiencer, knower of everything, then senses and mind are involved. Well, that also are woven into that. And they all are able to function when the physical body. Physical body is woven into consciousness. And woven means you know now very well. Not without, not besides, not beyond, etc. That's how it is. And therefore all these are nothing but Brahman or Atma, which is represented as Om. Therefore the first mantra in the Mandukya says all that is there is Om. Second mantra says all that is there is Brahman. Oh, all that is there is Brahman, all that is there is Om. I have no concern. No. I am Atma, Brahma. All that is there is Brahman, that is self. Therefore all that is there is you. So, if the direct teaching, etc., is not enough, I am Atma, Brahma, etc., well, if that is not enough, then this meditation on Om is means to gain that clarity. And inquiring into this Om itself is a method for one to reach Brahman. That will remove the samsara. Remove the samsara, remove the bondage, is gaining moksha. Yeah. And therefore, this is how we have to understand. Now, let's go into Omkara now. We have to discuss so many things about Omkara. Very versatile thing. Omkara is very, very versatile. For all the way, for gaining qualification, for contemplation, for gaining nishtha, means clarity, every way Omkara will be helpful. It's a very versatile. It's the only thing, very unique thing given by Veda. The connection between Omkara and the self and all that is amazing. Now, there are three types of meanings of Omkara. First is a linguistic meaning of Omkara. And one looks at Om as a word with a specific linguistic derivation. And in Sanskrit, we have this facility where you can trace the derivation of a word up in a root. Yeah. Root is the building block. Yeah. And you can, with that root, you apply certain suffixes and you can make a number of words. Pach, suppose. Pach means to cook. So you can make a pachaka and you can make a pachanam, this, etc. So many words. So same way, Om also is a derived word from some root. And that is, root is avadhatu. Ava means to protect. And from avadhatu they have made Om. I am not going into derivation, that's Sanskrit grammar, we don't need it right now. And therefore, if somebody is really interested in a derivation, I will give also. That's not a problem, but here it is not needed. So avadhatu, like the pach, you make it pachaka. From ni dhatu you make a neta, etc. Or from ni dhatu you make a nayanam, all this. Same way from avadhatu you make this Om. Ava means to protect. And therefore the derived meaning from avadhatu is avati, rakshati, iti Om. One which protects is Om. Means the meaning of the word Om is protector. Protector from what? Protector from samsara. Okay? Protector from, one protects you from samsara. So this is a linguistic meaning of Om. Second is a phonetic meaning. That Om sound conveys something. Yeah. It's a phonetic meaning of the Om. So, the creation, the whole creation is a non-separate from the Lord. Now we know, because maker and material, we know now very well. Therefore, the creation is a non-separate from the Lord. And all forms, therefore, all forms, whatever are there, are His forms. Right? Material only will be in the form of this Jagat. Clay alone will be there in the form of all this pot and etc. So if a Lord is a material, that's how we worship. We worship Lord. That's how we have a He form and a She form. And both are Ardhanarishwara. Yeah? We worship. In Navratri, we worship as a She form. And Janmashtami and all, we worship as a He form. So, because He means He is an efficient cause, He is a maker of everything. And He is a material also. So, we worship a material aspect in a form of She. And we worship Ishvara as the efficient cause in form of He. And that is non-separate, that you see there in Dakshinamurti. One with a big kundalam, one with a small kundalam. Earring. Bigger earring means a male form. And the other is with a small kundalam. That's a she form. Yeah. They are non-separate. Maker material are non-separate because the one alone have this two. Okay. Anyway, so creation is non-separate from the Lord, and therefore all forms are His forms. Each form has a name. Look at that. Each form has a name, and so therefore all names are His names. That's how we have at least now 1,000 names. Vishnu Sahasranama, Lalita Sahasranama. So like that, Shiva Sahasranama. It is there in Mahabharata. Anyway, so all this Sahasranama we have. Even Ganesha Sahasranama also is there. All names. So just 1,000. 1,000 means only thousands. Means 1,000 names are there, 1,000 forms. That's it, Swamiji. This much? No. Millions of forms. But Sahasram is generally to represent all, countless. That's how Sahasra Shirsha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapat Sabhumim Vishwato Vrutva, etc. One with 1,000 head and then 2,000 hands and 2,000 legs. No. Countless. Anyway, so all forms are His forms, therefore and every form has a name, therefore all names are His names. And therefore we have to have a name, because countless names one cannot chant. Therefore we should have a particular name which for the Lord, which includes all names in all languages or in all dialects. Right? For a given form, you have a word in your language. In a French, this is called something different. Name is different. Object is same, which is nothing but Lord. All forms are His forms. Therefore, basically all forms are His forms, therefore all names are also His names, and therefore you should have a name of a Lord which basically include all names in all languages and in all dialects. And every word consisting of one or more syllable is only a group of sounds. How word is formed, you see. From the alphabets. Alphabet has two things. One is a vowel, other is a consonant. Right? And when consonant and vowel you add it, it's a syllable. It's called syllable. Akshara. In Sanskritam we call akshara. The alphabets are called letters. And in Sanskritam we have word varna. So varnas join to make akshara. Akshara joins to make word. Right? So like kamalam. Let's say kamalam. So complete ka means kakara plus a. Then makara plus a. Then lakara plus a. And lastly only makara, kamalam. Or let's say kamala. That makara you leave it right now. So this kamala has 3 aksharas, 3 syllables. Each akshara is consonant vowel. Kakara plus akara. Makara plus akara. Lakara plus akara. This is akshara joined together to make a word. And aksharas are formed from the alphabets. Letters. Letters are what? Letters are what? That's the thing. Letters are basically sounds. Yeah. Now, Swamiji, letters means we write ka, Hey, that's a graphic symbol. Graphic symbol comes later, and graphic symbol changes also depending upon language. Sound symbol. Language begins with a sound, then graphic symbol comes. And in that, Sanskrit is a very unique language. The relationship between a graphic symbol and a sound symbol is unique, which is not there in English. If you say sit, means you have to, before writing, you should see around. SIT also can be, or it could be a SEAT also, or it could be some word which begins with even C will be pronounced as a like that. And therefore, so that is not sure. The graphic symbol and the sound symbol have no one-to-one relationship. Sometimes even graphic symbol is there, sound symbol is not there. Psychology. Psychology, oh Swamiji, it begins with S. Kya baat hai? Pneumonia. Indeed, the P is silent, which is never the case in Sanskritam. Never. That's how they found, I think, this programming language, they found a base structure. I don't know much detail about it because I'm not of that field. But I found that in programming language, well, they found the Sanskrit is the best language with well structured. What you pronounce, sound, accordingly there will be a graphic symbol. One-to-one. Ka means only that. No, Ka means some other alphabet also. No, that is English. When you say sit means it can begin with C, it can begin with S. We don't know. Yeah. That's how they have a spelling competition. Our Indians, boys, and they win. They win because we are already used to very well-structured language. Well-structured. Anyway, and therefore, basically every word consisting of one or more syllables is only a group of sounds. And that's what we study. That's called phonetics. Phonetics is a discipline of knowledge by which pronunciation of letters is taught. Ka is taught, it's a huge science. All the alphabets, which are called varna, called sounds, are produced from different points of articulation in the mouth. We have identified 5 points. We have identified 5 points of articulation. Certain letters are pronounced from the kantha. Yeah. Certain are pronounced with the help of palate. Certain are pronounced with the help of a cerebra. Certain are pronounced with the help of a teeth. Certain are pronounced with the help of your like pa, pa, ba, right? Certain are with teeth, ta, tha, da, tha. So your tongue touches the teeth. Just a movement of tongue at various places, cerebra, and then palate, teeth, etc. And lastly, all this, anunasika, where you even take help of little nose also. Ma. So na. So then mixture. Anyway, so this is how letters are pronounced. That's called phonetics. Yeah. And there is phonetic combinations, yeah, which we call generally sandhi, etc. Phonetic combination. Anyway, so basically, if one has to transcend all languages, you want to give a name of the Lord, well, which is a essence of all languages and dialects, because all names are ultimately His names, because all names indicates all forms, and all forms are nothing but His forms. And therefore, well, if we want to have a one word which can be a name of a Lord, well, it has to be a group of sounds which has to be phonetic and at the same time meaningful, which represent all dialects, all languages. And phonetically, Om is a symbol to cover all the names. All names of any language. How? Well, it has 3 phonetic elements. Phonetic elements means there is 3 letters, 3 sounds. A, U, and Ma. Makara. And when one opens one's mouth, and makes an effortless sound, where definitely what comes out first is for human being. For human acoustics, you open the mouth, and what comes out as a sound is only. Yeah. And that's how acoustics, not tiger. Tiger opens the mouth, and Swamiji, what little? That's not. I'm talking about a human acoustics, okay? And therefore, the acoustic of a human voice is set like this, anyway. And that's how Omkara is for human being, not for the tiger, okay? And therefore, ultimately, it is set on our human acoustics. So when one closes one mouth and makes a sound, that sound is nothing but Makara. If you open the mouth and you put an effort to make a sound, only Akara comes. When you close the mouth and then you put an effort to sound, it will be Makara only. And between you open the mouth and you close the mouth, all the letters of any language. Whoever wants to, a French also wants to, talk something. He has to open the mouth and ultimately close the mouth. In between, everything comes. In between is all twisting of the mouth, oo, etc. And then everything else. That's how, no wonder the first word of an infant, basically a child, discovers a combination of these sounds only. That's Amma, and Ma. Because he cannot. We have to teach him to twist the mouth and to produce a different other sounds. But the first thing, without much effort, he can learn is this Amma. Amma or Ma, same thing. And therefore, then that word becomes a name of a mother. When you open the mouth and close the mouth, etc. Almost all languages in India refer to the mother as a Amma or Ma. Ma is a phonetic name. Amma and Ma is more phonetic kind of a thing for mother in most of the. Ma is most phonetic, I think, in most of the world languages, which I will talk later. But in Indian languages, at least Amma, you know very well. So child's word begins with this basic word, Amma. And every other sound is in between Akara and Makara in all languages. And so even though in Sanskrit, of course, we have the last letter is H in alphabet. Even though it is H, we are considering phonetics here, not linguistics. And therefore, when one rounds between Akara and Makara, you round, right? Then to pronounce U, well, you round the mouth, right? Little round. And therefore, when one rounds one's lips, etc., and produces a sound, U comes out. And so, U stands for all the sounds in between Akara and Makara, opening the mouth and closing the mouth. So, U represents all other letters. And therefore, the sound A plus U ultimately combined become phonetically O. And so with Makara at the end, we get the sound Om. So therefore, Om basically is a name which is a essence of all the names, all the words of all the languages and dialects. All the names are nothing but all the names of Lord. And all the names are for certain forms, all forms. All forms are forms of Lord. And therefore, ultimately, Omkara is one name which is the name for Ishvara. We can call nickname also. He loves this name. If you want some favor, you should always call the person with a nickname. Things will be done. Yeah, if you want even a work to be done, Chitu, please go. And Chitu will go. If you say Chintan, etc., he will not listen. If you say Chitu, etc., they always, even husband wife also, they have some nicknames. So Om is a nickname. Beautiful. Wonderful. You can understand. Between opening and closing the mouth, ukara is there, which represent all letters and all names, etc. This is a phonetic meaning of Om. Means it's a name of this particular combination of sounds, meaningful combination of sounds in terms of akara, ukara, makara, is a name of Lord. And finally, Vedic meaning of Om. That is what we are going to do in Mandukya. So scripture basically presents Om as everything. Everything comes out from Om, everything is sustained by Om, everything resolves into Om. So Om is a well-known in the Vedas as the name for Brahman, Atma, because it covers all names. And once we utter Om, so all names and forms are covered. Earlier I said all names are covered. You may feel that Swamiji is repeating. I am not repeating. Please understand. I said we want to give one name, Namakaranam, naming ceremony for Ishvara, who is in the form of all the forms. How will you give? Because all the forms has all the names. So many, countless names. One name, what name we should select? Which represent all names of all languages for all the forms. And therefore I said it is a phonetic meaning. Now I am saying basically Om covers every name and form also. And whatever is left after chanting Om is also covered by that. That is Brahman. So after you chant Om, right? Now then silence. That also is covered. Actually, in fact, that is Brahman. Therefore, silence is Brahman. Yeah, we'll see. Yeah. One way. Yeah. When there is no sound means it is Brahman. Yeah. So we'll have to see that. So between two chants of Om, there is a silence. That is also Brahman. And when you chant, that also represents Brahmans. Brahman free from names and forms is represented in the silence. Brahman with names and forms is presented in the chanting of the Om. When the chanting is stopped and there is a silence, that represents Brahman without names and forms. How? But then this akara, ukara, makara means all names and forms. How? That's what Mandukya is revealing. And therefore, name of Omkara is a name for Brahman with attributes, with names and forms, without names and forms, without attributes. They are called Sagunam, Nirgunam. There are no, you know very well. You know, all that is there is Brahman. There are no two Brahmans. Names and forms are mithya. There are no two things, pot and clay. You can understand now what I mean. Clay has with a particular name form, right? That's called pot. Therefore, clay with attribute, clay without attribute. Really speaking, as a truth, clay is without name and form. Anyway, so Omkara, the chanting of the Omkara, Akara, Ukara, Makara, you are loading entire world in on that. Entire names, all names and forms. And when the silence, where you are loading, that is Brahman itself, without names and forms. Anyway, and now regarding chanting of Om, which also I have to say because a lot of misconception. So Brahman is basically non-dually one, right? One without second. Omkara also is a monosyllable word, one akshara. 3 letters, but 1 akshara. No, Swamiji, 2. O and Makara. Makara is not akshara already. Makara is a varna. When Makara becomes akshara when, varna becomes akshara when you add vowel into that. It is not, it's with another stroke. And therefore, Om is a ekakshari word. One with 1 syllable. Brahman is also one without second. Om also is one only with a 1 syllable. And so all these letters, Akara, Ukara, Makara are within this Om only. And even as the 3 prevail, Om is still 1. Right? Therefore, it is incorrect to chant Om as a Aum, etc. People chant as a Aum, like that dog, you know. makar, ukara, makar. They say, the tradition tells that this is equivalent to you become a person in creating a quarrel between husband and wife, making them separate. It's equivalent to like this. Om is without any kind of a separation, and you said Aum, etc. And therefore, but Swamiji, Om is Akara and Ukara, and therefore I want to chant Aum, etc. That there is a phonetic combination where in a O there is something from your throat and there is something from your palate. That's how it is called Kanthatalu. Odautoho Kanthatalu. So, anyway, and therefore grammarians and orthodox people say that it is forcing yourself between these matras, and they consider it as a papam. Chanting Om as a Aum, etc. is a papam. It is an internal sandhi. Phonetic combination has been done between the letters A and U, and so one should not break these vowels and chant as Aum, etc. And how, Swamiji, Om also should be chanted how? With a pluta. Om, Om, like that. So it's a pluta. Pluta means 3 matras. Yeah. Hraswa, 1 matra. 1 unit of time. Dirgha, 2 units of time. Pluta, 3 units of time. And therefore, so pluta with the 3 matras is the time unit for chanting Om. So it is chanted in a 3 unit length, whatever, 3 second, let's say, O and then Makara. So it's chanted in 3 unit length of time with a short gap between the 2 Omkaras. That's a silence. So Om, Om. Initially gap should be small. I will talk about it. And then with your understanding of Ayam Atma Brahma, the gap should be more. Because that's a gap. That is silence. That is where you understand yourself free from attributes. That is Brahman, which is all pervasive. Without attributes, all pervasive. With names and forms, well, limited in form of gross world, subtle world, causal world. But as such, it is all pervading. Amatra. No length of time. Timeless Brahman. That is indicated in a silence, etc. So we'll say that. So this is how, regarding the meaning of this monosyllable word called Om. And if one finds very difficult to understand Brahman the way we discussed in 2 days, that I am Brahman, Swami said all this, I am a knower and this and that. And if one finds difficulty understanding Ayam Atma Brahma Mahavakya, then Shastra says don't worry about it. We are giving you a upaya, a method to make your understanding of you as a Brahman easy. To ease your understanding, we are giving you one more method. Through Omkara you will do. That's what it is. So Omkara is considered as a upaya for easier understanding of oneself equating with the Brahman. Yeah. And so, and this kind of upaya is, the example they give is, if one cannot, lift a very heavy stone, one uses basically a lever. If one cannot do it in one way, definitely there is another way of helping the person to do it, to lift it. That's called upaya. I cannot lift directly like that. Okay, then there is a lever. With that you do. Same way. Ayam Atma Brahma, Mahavakya, that's Vedanta. That's over. Afterwards, nothing. Once that is done, Upanishad becomes quiet. Immediately quiet. Because nothing more to talk. What is to be talked more, once it is said, all that is there is Ishvara, or all that is there is you, or whole, one without second. What is more to be talked? Therefore, Shastra also stops. Namah Parama Rushibhyaha, Namah Parama Rushibhyaha, right? In Mundaka. In other Upanishad, they stop. But basically, if one doesn't understand that, then definitely Shastra says we'll show you a method of making your understanding easy, contemplating, ultimately making it more clear, this understanding, etc. And we have this sound symbol, Om, that encompasses all the states of experiences, waking, dream, and deep sleep. All that is there is Brahman, right? With attributes, etc. But, well, with this Omkara, a sound symbol, which has 3 letters, you have 3 states of experience, and we will show you a connection between that. And so, Om as a sound symbol, and loading these experiences in 3 matras. 3 states of experiences are loaded in these 3 matras. But why should I load it? There is some similarity. Yeah. There is some similarity between Akara and the waking state. There is some similarity, which is what the Upanishad is, Mandukya Upanishad. There is similarity between Ukara and a dream state. There is some similarity between Makara and a deep sleep state. Yeah. And therefore we are telling, we are not arbitrarily saying that just superimpose on that. There is some meaning involved, some connection with Akara and waking state, and Ukara and dream state, etc. And therefore we are telling that all that is there in all the 3 states is just one truth, and that is Brahman. But if you are not able to understand it, well, take help of this, a phonetic symbol, sound symbol, Om, with loading that 3 states. Not just chanting Om, 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 Om. And Swamiji, just this sound doesn't make any difference. Sounds with this kind of a loading, etc., then it serves a big purpose. Yeah. So we load on it all the worlds that are experienced and not yet experienced, unmanifest, etc., and understand Brahman or Atma through Om. And one can be, before I complete, I would like to say a few things about this Om. So Om can be taken as a mantra also for simple chanting, invoking Ishvara's grace. So like any other japa, this chanting also gives gives the person who chants a grace of Ishvara. Because it's the name of Lord, we already saw. Omkara is the name of Lord. It represents all the names. It covers all languages, all dialects, all words, which are nothing but the names of different forms. And therefore, all the forms are covered, means Ishvara is covered. Ishvara means all names and forms. Jagat is all covered. And therefore, since it is the name of Lord, well, definitely if you do a chanting, well, it will invoke Ishvara's grace. So, and then the difference between chanting of Om and any other mantra is this. Let me talk about it. And so, in any other mantra, like Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayana, etc., a particular deity is invoked. Well, Om also is a Lord's name, but it is general in nature because Om means Lord. Now we know it's a name of Lord. So it is also a Lord's name, but it's general in nature. So through chanting of Om, basically, one invokes the grace of Ishvara in all his aspects. So Om itself is a mantra, and it can be a part of mantra, as I told you, Om Namah Shivaya, etc. Om itself is they call Pranava mantra. So itself is a mantra, or it can be a part of mantra. And the difference I will show you between, it's with one example. Like, one wants to use a program in a computer. If you want to use a certain program in a computer, you click on that particular icon or a code word, whatever it is there, and the whole program opens up, right? And later, well, a particular function in that program is then invoked by clicking a sub-menu, etc. So chanting Om is like opening up a program, and that invokes Ishvara, and which is a ruler of everything, ruler of every function, etc. And hence Om is included in all the mantras, regardless of whether it is a part of mantra or not. Because basically first you open a program and then you go to sub-menu. Same way here Om is added in everything. Om as such also is taken, or Om is added into everything, because unless you open the program, you cannot go to sub-menu, like that. And therefore, Om is included in all the mantras, regardless of whether it is a part of mantra or not. That's how we say Namah Shivaya. It's actually, mantra is a Namah Shivaya. It's there in a Rudram, which is part of a Yajurveda, etc. So Namah Somaya, etc., etc. There Namah Shivaya comes. But then when you say, well, should I chant Namah Shivaya? No, Om Namah Shivaya. Chanting Gayatri, start with Om. Om Bhurbhuvasvaha, Om Tat Savita, etc. Or Namo Narayana? No, Om Namo Narayana. Because first you have to open the program. You have to invoke Ishvara in general, please understand this. Invoking Ishvara in general, and then you invoke aspects of Ishvara, like a power. To invoke a power, well, if you are interested in a power, so you have to invoke his power now. You want power. Then, well, you chant Hrim. Omkara is there, but then if you chant Hrim, means you are invoking not Ishvara as such, you are invoking a power in Ishvara. With Omkara, you have invoked Ishvara. Now chanting Hrim, you are invoking one aspect, a power of Ishvara. And it is like a sub-menu in the main program. And then power means again, you think power means it's a destructive power also. He has a destructive power also. Therefore, well, you want a power which is a blessing power, like Lakshmi ji, etc. So then you further say Shrim. Could you follow? So you further say Shrim, etc. And therefore, Shrim is also added to Hrim. Hrim is added to Omkara. So this is how program, opening, then sub-manu, then again maybe sub-manu. You may be using more, and so you will be knowing all these things. So Shrim is Lord's blessing power, we can call Lakshmi ji, etc. And it is another sub-manu kind of thing. So one addresses Ishvara basically in the form of a particular deity, depending upon what one is interested in. It's very similar to like a computer program. And finally, a little caution. If one is interested, if one continuously chants Om, then one will have a certain dispassion for even a family life also can occur. And therefore, if one feels that my family life gets disturbed, means because the other person may not be interested in all this, and you started this, and slowly you find that you are disinterested, and then the other person will say that after he has gone there in that camp and he has returned, something has happened to him. So Swami will be in trouble, okay? Because this continuous chanting of Om basically creates a certain dispassion for worldly affairs, worldly goals, worldly pursuits. And therefore, anyway, so that's how basically this Pranava Mantra Upadesha is given to sannyasis who need that actually, who need this. Because chanting Om, one is basically invoking Ishvara as a giver of a self-knowledge. Because the word Om we are going to see is nothing but understanding of Om is understanding of Brahman. Understanding of Brahman is understanding of Om. That is Mandukya Upanishad. And therefore, if one is interested in self-knowledge, he can take help of just Om. He is not interested in Shrim or Hrim, etc. He doesn't go to sub-manu. Okay? He is not interested. Yeah. And therefore, as a result, if one feels like basically dropping everything, running away from the home, etc. So if one is not ready for this, it is a problem. So it's better, we always say, Swamiji, should I chant just Om or not? Well, if you are looking at your situation, Swami will just switch over and say, no, it's Om Namah Shivaya is better, This you leave it. Just Omkara will not lead to anywhere, etc. Because if one is not ready and one feels like running away from the family life, from the home, etc., would not be good. But then why are you talking? No, I will talk about it because that Omkara Alambana as such will help you in self-knowledge. But just chanting Omkara from now onwards, after the class is over, well, it all depends upon the person. If person is alone and he says, well, I am not interested in any other thing, etc., that's a different thing altogether. But a person is living in a family, etc., and all the children are there and all that, and still you are in a mid-age and all that, and you are, earning and maintaining the family and everything and starting this home, and then you want to run away from everything. Could be. So that's how Pujya Swami generally gives this caution, which I am sharing you from his teaching only. So that is the thing. We'll see further later, tomorrow. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.